A little late. All right. So today we're going to continue with my short story series. All right. And so I have a pretty interesting story for us from Ronald Dahl. All right. And it's called Lamb to the Slaughter. All right. And so Ronald Dahl was one of my favorite authors when I was a kid. And so he writes a lot of novels for children, but as we know, novelists, they write other things. So he wrote short stories for us. This one is kind of long, and so we're not going to get through all of it in class. So what you can do is, after class, if you want to continue reading it, or what I'm going to do is next week, we're going to have a faster paced class on the same story. So we should be able to finish it. Because usually with my short story lessons, the short stories are too long for just an hour-long class. And I was a little late today, so we don't have as much time. All right, so welcome to class, Thomas and Sarah. All right, so I'm going to post a link in our Verbling chat because it's working today, so that's great. All right. All right, so you should be able to access this website, and I'll let you know. I'll go to screen share and show you what it looks like. Okay, so we should be seeing something like this. Okay. All right, and so as I said, this week the story is semi-long, as you can see. And so what I may do is, for those of you that are here with us tonight, we're going to do our best to read it. But next week I have a 3-hour block, so what we can do is take 2 hours and read the short story and have time to discuss it. All right. All right, so we have 17 viewers. If anyone wants to join class, that'd be great. Otherwise, we're only going to start with 2 students. So you guys should definitely join, because I know it's difficult to get seats in some of the classes. And you'll get practice speaking, so I will ask you questions, and you will have to read. So you'll get some work with pronunciation and reading, which is also great. Welcome to class, guys. Okay. All right, and so we don't lose any more time, I guess we'll start reading. And so would anyone like to start reading for us at all? Okay, great. And maybe just this section here. It's a little bit long, but it's not too bad, if that's okay. All right, so who was it that wanted to read?
Can I start?
Yes, you may, Hiba.
Just a minute. The room. Hello?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can hear you.
The room was warm and clean.
Mm-hmm.
The curtains drawn. The 2 table lamps, a light hers, and the one by the empty chair opposite. On the sideboard behind her, 2 tall glasses, soda water, whiskey, and fresh ice cubes in the thermos pocket. Mary Melanie was waiting for her husband to come home from work. Now and again she would glance up at the clock, but without an anxiety, merely to please herself with the thought that each minute gone by made it nearer the time when he would come. There was a slow smiling air about her, and about everything she did. The curve of the head, as she bent over her sewing, was curiously tranquil. Her skin, for this was her 6th month with child had acquired a wonderful translucent quality. The mouth was soft, and the eyes, with their new placid look, seemed larger, darker than before. When the clock said 10 minutes to 5, she began to listen, and a few moments later, punctually, as always, she heard the tires on the gravel outside, and the car door slamming, the footsteps passing the window, the key turning in the lock. She laid aside her sewing, stood up, and went forward to kiss him as he came in.
Great job. All right, so who is our main character?
Mary Maloney.
Okay, so Mary Maloney.
Mary Maloney.
She is our main character. Is she married or is she single?
She's married.
She's married. Sorry.
Married.
And is she pregnant or is she, how many months pregnant is she?
On her 6th month.
6.
So she's 6 months pregnant. And so what is she doing in these first couple of paragraphs?
She was waiting for her husband.
She's waiting for her husband. And what is she making at that same time?
Doing something. Doing a tranquil, maybe? What?
Yeah,
No. Doing.
is she married
Sewing.
or is she single?
She's working at a firm.
So you guys were right. She's married. She's waiting for her husband. Okay? And she's sewing something. We don't know what it is, but she is sewing something. Okay? All right. So would anyone like to read the next part for us at all? These first couple of paragraphs.
I want.
Okay. Kupra? Boss?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Hello, darling. Hello.
She's waiting for her husband, and
What does it mean, hello?
They're giving him an accent. Sorry, Brian, can you mute yourself? I can mute myself repeatedly. 1 second.
What's wrong?
All right, there you go.
Going on.
She's waiting 1 second. For her husband.
Oh.
Sorry. And she's sewing. Brian, you need to let me keep you muted. Sorry. He was just repeating.
No problem.
Class. Okay.
Okay.
So, hello, darling. It's supposed to be, hello, but sometimes authors will write the characters with a British accent or an Indian accent, or they're giving them a different dialect in English, So, this is kind of British sounding. It's like hello, or yeah, that's it.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, it's okay.
Why it's writing so?
He's just giving his character an accent.
Accent, oh, okay.
Accent. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, hello, darling, she said.
Hello, darling. Am I reading?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Hello, darling, she said. Hello, darling, he answered. She took his coat and hung it in the closet. Then she walked over and made the drinks, a strongish one for him, a weak one for herself, and so soon she was back again in her chair with the sewing, and he in the other opposite, holding the tall glass with both hands, rocking it so the ice cables tinkled against the side.
Yeah. And before you continue, what does she do in this paragraph that no woman who is pregnant should be doing? What is she doing that is...
There is,
She's
I don't
making a
know,
drink.
words.
Okay. It's okay.
She
You don't
takes
have...
care. She takes care more of her husband. Maybe she
So she made
She was
drinks.
drinking. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's drinking alcohol and she's pregnant. So that's like a no-no. It says, she walked over and made the drinks, a strongish one for him, a weak one for herself. So that means that she put a small amount of alcohol in a glass. But she's pregnant, so, you know, maybe she's not the best mother, or the story is just too old. We'll see. Could you continue with us, for us, Kubra?
Okay, I think
For her,
for her, this was always a blissful time of day. She knew he didn't want to speak much until the first drink was finished, and she, on her side, was content to sit quietly, enjoying his company after the long hours alone in the house. She loved to luxuriate in the presence of this man and feel almost as some better feels the sun, that warm male glow that came out of him to her when they were alone together. She loved him for the way he sat loosely in a chair, for the way he came in a door, or moved slowly across the room with long strides. She loved intent, for a look in his eyes when they rested in her the funny shape of the mouth, and especially especially the way he reminded Slind about his tiredness, sitting still with himself until the whiskey had taken some of it away. Tired.
okay. So does she love her husband? Does she love her husband?
Yeah, loved.
Yeah. She loved him.
She loved.
Yeah, she loves him. Okay. And how do we know that she loves him? What does she tell
loved
us
him.
here? How does she describe that she loves him? What does she love about him?
His presence.
Yeah.
The way his behavior. He loves his behavior.
She loves his behavior.
She loves him for the way he sat, for the way he came in a door, or moved slowly across the room, long strides, and all that.
Yeah, so the way we describe this, it's a little bit of slang, but you may hear it all the time. She's head over heels, you know, for her husband. And that just means she's deeply in love with him. She loves everything about him. She loves everything about him. Like Lucas mentioned, right, Lucas? She loves the way, you know, he sits in a chair. That's so weird. Okay? What
Öler
else?
misin diyorum. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. All right. All right. So would anyone like to continue reading for us? And we'll get some reading practice in. What about Sarah at all?
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Tired, darling? Yes, he said. I'm tired. And as he spoke, he did an unusual thing. He lifted his glass and drained it in one swallow, although there was still half on it, of it, at least half of it left. She wasn't really watching him, but she knew what he had done because she heard the ice cubes falling back against the bottom of the empty glass when he lowered his arm. He paused a moment, leaning forward in the chair, then he got up and went slowly over to fetch himself another. "I'll get it," she cried, jumping up. "Sit down," he said. When he came back, she noticed that the new drink was dark amber with a quantity of whiskey in it. "Darling, shall I get your slippers?" "No."
Yep, and just
She
read the
watched.
last.
Shall I continue?
Yep.
Okay. She watched him as he began to sip the dark yellow drink, and she could see little oily swirls in the liquid because it was so strong. "I think it's a shame," she said, "that one policeman gets to be as senior as you. They keep him walking about on his feet all day long." He
Okay,
didn't
great.
answer.
So what is her husband's job?
A policeman.
So he is a policeman. And what is his hobby? What is his hobby? They're doing it together. It's not really a great hobby to have. It's a little unhealthy, maybe. What are they doing? Yeah. They're drinking. And is he drinking a lot?
Yes.
He drinks often and a lot, it sounds like, because we know that she had the drinks ready when he came home from work. You know, she had the whiskey and the ice set up on the table, waiting for him. All right, so he's a policeman. He drinks often and a lot. So he may be, does anyone know what we call that when you have a problem drinking?
Alcoholic.
Yeah, so he may be an alcoholic, but we're not sure. We'll find out. Okay? All right. Any questions so far on the story? So does everyone understand the plot? We have our two characters, Mr. and Mrs. Maloney. They're married, she's pregnant, and he's a policeman, and they're drinking, and he is drinking heavily. Okay? That's all that's happened so far. We're still in the beginning. Okay. All right. So would anyone like to continue reading for us at all?
Yes.
Okay,
Maybe.
cool.
Am I right?
Genesis? Was that you?
Yes,
Okay. Yes, please do read for us. That'd be great.
yes, he didn't answer, yes?
Yep, so he didn't answer.
Yes. He didn't answer, so she bent her head again and went on with her swing, but each time he lifted the drink to his lips, she heard the ice cubes clinking against the side of the glass.
Does
Darling,
anyone see the mistake in the paragraph? Sorry, there's a spelling error. Does anyone see it? No? It's supposed to be but. Yep. So instead of bet, we're supposed to have but. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you. I just noticed that. All right.
No problem.
Okay.
Darling, she said, would you like me to get you some cheese? I haven't made any supper because it's Thursday. No, he said. If you are too tired to eat out, she went on, it's still not too late. There's plenty of meat and stuff in the freezer, and you can have it right here and not even move out of the chair. Her eyes waited on him for an answer, a smile, a little nod, but he made no sign. Anyway, she went on, I will get you some cheese and crackers first. I don't wait it, he said. She moved uneasily in her chair, the large eyes still watching his face. But you must eat. I'll fix it anyway, and then you can have it or not as you like. She stood up and placed her swing on the table by the lamp. Sit down, he said, just for a minute, sit down. It wasn't until then that she began to get frightened. Go on, he said, sit down.
Okay, great. Um, okay, so what does she ask him about here?
Eating something.
Yeah, so she's asking him what he wants to eat for what meal?
Dinner.
Dinner, yeah. And so he's very tired, okay? So she says, if you're too tired to eat out. So what does it mean when we say eat out? Or, for example, I ate out last night. What does that mean? So it means that you're, any ideas? Sorry?
For it out, he tired. He tired for it out.
So yeah, he's tired. So she's asking him if it's okay to eat out. And so Pavlo, right, says eating at a restaurant or something like that. And that's correct. So eating out refers to eating in a restaurant, usually. Okay? Yeah. All right, cool. All right, and so what does she say she'll make for him? Just quickly, as a snack. Snack.
Yeah.
Some cheese and
I want
Cheese and crackers.
Yeah, so she will make him cheese and crackers. And then what happens that makes her scared? Why does she get frightened? So does anyone know, why does she get frightened?
He didn't answer her when she said, I will...
So it does have something to do with what he says. You're right. When we're reading it, we read it very nicely, but it should have been more like sit down, you know?
Yeah.
Just for a minute, sit down, you know, so he's pissed off. You can say he's pissed off, maybe cranky, angry, possibly drunk, you know? So, all right. So we'll see what happens.
aggressive.
Yeah, he's an aggressive person.
Yeah.
That makes sense. He's a police officer. Right. Okay. So would anyone like to continue reading the story for us? And I'll go to screen share.
Which part is?
Yep. So she lowered herself back slowly into the chair. Can you read for us?
Yeah.
Awesome.
She lowered herself back slowly into the chair, watching him all the time with those large, bewildered eyes. He had finished the second drink and was staring down into the glass, frowning. Listen, he said, I got some time to tell you. What is, darling? What is the matter? He had now become absolutely motionless, and he kept his head down so that the light from the lamp beside him fell across the upper part of his face, leaving the chin and mouth in shadow. She noticed there was a little muscle moving near to the corner of his left ear. Keep.
Yep, keep going.
This going to be a bit of shock to you. I am afraid, he said. But I've thought about it a good deal, and I decided the only thing to do is tell you right away. I hope you won't blame me too much. And he told her. I didn't take long, 4 or 5 minutes at most, and she sat very still through it all, watching him with a kind of dazed horror, and he went farther and farther away from her with each word.
Okay, so I'm going to highlight a paragraph, and it's the paragraph that starts with, he had now become absolutely motionless. Okay? And so they paint a picture for us here. They give us an image. So what part of his face can she see? When she's looking at him, they tell us something in this paragraph. And so what happens? He moves, and she can only see a certain part of his face. So what part can she see?
Upper part of his face.
Upper part.
Yeah, exactly. So he moves and the light changes. So all she sees, is this. All right, so she only sees his eyes. And what is happening with his eye? Yeah. His eye is twitching. Okay, that's usually a sign of what? If your eye is twitching.
Angry.
Yeah, he's agitated, so angry, tired, stressed, So this is not going to be good news, all right? Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, cool. All right, so anyone, we'll move on. I'll go back to screen share. Anyone else want to read for us? What about someone we haven't heard from? What about Tim or Kim?
Yes.
Cool.
Hello. Should I read?
Yes, please.
This is going. This is going to be. Is it right?
You should see on our screen right now. So there it is, he added. And I know it's kind of, oh, sorry. Yep, that's right. We're starting there. So there it is, he added. Do you see where we are? It's on our screen. You can read it off of our webpage right now on Verbling. No? Okay. So can anyone else? It's okay. We'll come back to you when you figure it out. Can anyone else read for us? You got it?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So there it is. He added. Yes?
Yep.
So there it is, he added, and I know it's kind of a bad time to be telling you, but there simply wasn't any other way. Of course, I'll give you money and see you looked after. But there needn't really be any fuss. I hope not anyway. I wouldn't be very good for my job. Her first instinct was not to believe any of it, to reject it all. It occurred to her that perhaps she hadn't even spoken, that she herself had imagined the whole thing. Maybe she went about her business and acted as though she hadn't been listening. Then later, when she saw they were woken up again, she might find none of it had ever happened.
Sorry. Okay. Please continue.
I'll get this up. She managed to whisper, and this time he didn't stop her. When she walked across the room, she couldn't feel her feet touching the floor. She couldn't feel anything at all except a slight nausea and a desire to vomit. Huh?
Nausea.
Nausea. And a desire to vomit. Everything was automatic now down. The steps to the cellar, the light switch, the deep freeze, the hand inside the cabinet, taking hold of the first object it met. She lifted it out and looked at it. It was wrapped in paper, so she took off the paper and looked at it again.
Okay, great. So he tells her news, and it's bad news. Do we know what news he tells her? So what information he tells her? Do we have any specifics at all? Any ideas? What does he tell her? Do we know? Okay.
No, I can actually understand.
Till we done.
Exactly. Who was that?
Hiba.
Okay. Yeah. So no, we don't know any specifics. All right. They go and they tell us it's going to take 4 or 5 minutes to say what he needs to say, all the information. And then they tell us, so there it is. What piece of information does he say, though? Something that is very important. He tells her something that is pretty scary. He implies something in the first paragraph, sorry, that we read in this section. So if we take a look, yeah.
This is going to be a bit of a shock.
So it's going to be a shock. So in this paragraph, what does he tell her? What does he imply?
He said that he knows it's kind of a bad time to be telling her.
So it's a bad time. Why is it a bad time?
Because he doesn't gain money, maybe.
Right.
Or maybe he wants to tell her about divorce.
Yeah, so you're on the right track. So he does not want to be with her anymore, or he can't be with her. We don't know. All he tells us is, of course, I'll give you money and see you looked after. Okay, so what he tells her is, I'm not going to be with you anymore. We don't know why yet, but he says, don't worry, I'll give you money. So when we're not together, it's okay. You'll have money, okay? And it's a bad time because she is pregnant with his child, okay? Yeah. So we're going to see why he doesn't want to be with her. All right, so does anyone have any questions? Is that clear? Okay. No questions? All right. Okay, so now she's, what happens, there's a few descriptive paragraphs about the way she feels, and she's walking through her house, and it's supposed to be described as feeling unreal, all right? So it feels like she's walking on air. It doesn't feel normal, all right? And so she's cooking dinner, and that's where we're picking up, okay? And so would anyone else like to continue reading for us with a leg of lamb? Anyone? All right. All right, so it looks like, Lucas, are you having connection problems? Because I have 2 of you in class. All right. Okay. What about Idris Fitra?
Yes. Yes.
Yep. Would you be willing to read for us?
Which one?
It starts with a leg of lamb.
Okay. Leg of lamb. All right then, they would have lamb for supper. She carried it upstairs, holding the thin bone of it with both her hands. And as she went through the living room, she saw him standing over by the window with his back to her, and she stopped it. For God's sake, he said, her, but maternal, don't make supper for me. I'm going out. At the point, Mary Maloney simply walked up behind him, and without any pause, she swung frozen leg of lamb high in the air, and broke it down as hard as she could on the back of his head. She might just as well have hit him with a steel club. She stepped back a pace, and the funny thing was that he remained standing there for at least 4 or 5 seconds, gently swaying. Then he crashed to the carpet.
What does Mary do? What does she do? What did she do to her husband?
She is very angry and she hit her husband. She hit him in the steel club, maybe.
Oh, so she hit him actually with the lamb. So, you know, a piece of
Yeah.
meat like this size. But she hit him so hard. And if we look at the title, the name of the story is Lamb to the Slaughter. So is he dead or alive?
No, he's still alive.
Okay, so he's alive for a few seconds. But what about when he falls to the ground? Is he still alive or is he dead?
Maybe he's
Yeah. So slaughter implies death in a gruesome way. Okay.
someone slaughtered a killer.
Yeah. So for instance, we slaughter sheep. We slaughter cows for their meat. So we kill something. It's to kill. Okay. And yes. I can post the link again. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, she irrationally just takes the lamb and hits him on the head. And he stood for 4 or 5 seconds, you know. So he did this thing where, you know, he was like this and then he toppled. He fell. He's a goner. All right. Okay, so can someone else continue with the story for us at all? Okay. Let's see. So I think everyone has read. So would anyone like to read again?
Can I read again?
Yes,
Can I read
definitely. Yeah, and so we'll start with Hiba, and then Idris, you can read after. Okay, cool.
The violence of the crash, the noise, the small table overturning, helped to bring her out of her shock.
Of her shock. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Of her shock or his shock.
It's a spelling mistake. It's supposed to be H-E-R. Yeah.
She came out slowly, feeling cold and surprised, and she stood for a while blinking at the body, still holding the ridiculous piece of meat tight with both hands. All right, she told herself. So I killed him. It was extraordinary now, how clearly her mind became all of a sudden. She began thinking very fast. As the wife of a detective, she knew quite well what the finality would be. That was fine. It made no difference to her. In fact, it would be a relief. On the other hand, what about the child? What were the laws about murderers with unborn children? Did they kill both mother and child? Or did they wait until the 10th month? What did they do? Mary Maloney didn't know, and she certainly wasn't prepared to take a chance. She carried the meat into the kitchen, placed it in a pan, turned the oven on high, and shoved it not inside. Then she washed her hands and ran upstairs to the bedroom. She sat down before the mirror, tidied her hair, touched up her lips and face. Her lips, I guess.
Lips. Yeah.
She tried a smile. It came out rather peculiar. She tried again. "Hello, Sam," she
Okay,
said
great.
proudly.
So we'll stop there. Okay, so what specifically, her husband worked for the police, but what did he work on specifically? What was his job
He's,
title?
he's a detective, an inspector, maybe.
Yeah, so what he does is he works, on crimes, most likely murders. All right. One second, I hope they get better. Okay. Okay. Okay, and so what does she do with the lamb? What does she decide to do?
She put the lamp, wait a minute.
She puts the lamb.
You cook it?
Yeah, so she cooks the lamb.
She cooks them.
Okay, and so is there any evidence left now? Did she leave evidence behind?
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, she
She
cooks
used
the evidence.
she used the weapon. Uh, uh, yes, a weapon used for kill her husband. He hide evidence.
Yeah,
Hide is the
so we call that the murder weapon. So she cooks the murder weapon.
yes.
Exactly. All right. Let's see. Sorry, I lost my place. Okay, so let's see what happens. Maybe we can finish the story before class ends. We'll see. Okay, so it was Idris, can you read for us now?
Okay.
Hello, Sam. Oh, sorry.
Hello, Sam. She said brightly aloud. The voice sounded peculiar too. I want some potatoes, Sam. Yeah, I think a can of peas. There was both the smile and the voice were coming out better now. She rehearsed it several times more. Then she went downstairs, took her coat, went out the back door, down the garden, into the street.
Okay.
It wasn't six
Sorry,
o'clock.
before we continue, what is
Huh?
she doing in this paragraph? So what is she doing in this paragraph? Anyone know? So what she's doing is she's practicing behaving normal. All right, so she's just killed her husband, and she's like, "Oh, would you like peas with that?" And she's smiling, and she's trying to act normal. And then she escapes from her house, so no one sees her. All right, and so that's very important. She ran downstairs, took her coat, went out the back door. So she goes to the back of her house, through her garden, and into the street. So no one can see that she was in the house and she left. Okay? And that's very important. All right? All right, so can you continue reading for us, Idris? Are you still there? Idris? Oh, I think he has connection problems. We have two of him now. Okay. All right. So would anyone else like to read until he
Yes,
comes
I'm
back?
reading.
Okay.
Read.
Abdu, or was that Thomas?
Hello?
Okay. Abdu, can you read for us? Okay, so it wasn't 6 o'clock yet, and the lights were still on in the grocery shop.
It's not clear.
Okay. So not to call you out, but it's kind of difficult when people join class 10 minutes before class ends. So, all right.
Yeah. That was or
He lost connection.
Wasn't
from that was
Yes.
better. What?
So just start at, it was 6 o'clock, and yet the lights.
Yes, now it wasn't
the
6
light?
o'clock yet.
Continue.
And the lights were still on in the grocery store.
Shop.
Sometimes it's not clear.
Okay.
Can't read.
Sorry, you're supposed to be on the link. I'm just doing screen share for other people. All right. So can we get someone else to read? Sorry, we only have a few minutes.
Yeah, I read if you want.
Yes, that'd be great.
It wasn't 6 o'clock yet, and the lights were still on in the grocery shop. Hello, Sam, she said briefly, smiling at the man behind the counter. Why, good evening, Mr. Malone. How are you? I want some potatoes, please, Sam. Yes, I think a can of peas. The man turned and reached up behind him on the shelf for the peas. Patrick decides he's tired and doesn't want to eat out tonight, she told him. We usually go out Thursday, you know. And now he's caught me without any vegetables in the house. Then how about meat, Mr. Maloney? No, I have got meat, thank you. I got a nice leg of lamb from the freezer. Oh, I don't know much like cooking it frozen, Sam, but I'm taking a chance on it this time. You think it will be alright? Personally, the grocer said, I don't believe it makes any difference. You want this? Did I soup potatoes? Oh yes, that will be fine. 2 of those. Anything else? The grocer cocked his head on one side.
Cocked his head.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Cocked his head. Okay. Cocked his head on one side, looking at her pleasantly. How about afterward? What are you going to give him for afterward? Well, what would you suggest, Sam?
Okay.
The man glazed. Suggest. Suggest. How do you say?
Suggest.
The man glazed around his shop. How about a nice big slice of cheesecake? I know he likes that.
Okay, so where is she right now? Where is she? Where? Okay, yeah. So she's in the grocery store, and she's talking to Sam, the grocer. All right, and it's a normal conversation. All right, and so this is where we're going to leave class. If you want, you can finish the story, and then you can find me on Facebook. And you can tell me if you enjoyed the ending or not, what you thought of it. All right, and so I'm posting my link on Verbling now, or for Facebook now. But if not, I'm going to try and do a 2-hour session with this story, so we can finish it and talk about it.
Sure.
Okay. So, yeah, have a good night, guys, and try to get to the next class. It's starting in a minute.
Sure. Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.